I have a question for you because I've actually always wanted to ask you this. Like, what is it about Dragon Ball that was just like, this is my shit? Like, what was it about it for you that was like, you just were like, this is my jam?
Probably the same thing as you, bro. Like that was like the first show that I watched. I can't speak for you.
Right.
That was the first show that I watched that had me like wanting to see the next episode over and over again. Like
Yeah.
people do it all the time. Like all these shows like Sopranos and Game of Thrones, that's like a thing. And even back then they did it, but I was a kid. I wasn't watching Melrose Place or 90210. I wasn't watching that shit. I was watching cartoons. And
Right.
back then, like if you were around back then, like once in a while shows did that. Like you had Power Rangers do it once in a while. You had
Right.
Batman the Animated Series, X-Men. These great shows, they're all great. But most of the time it was self-contained episodic stuff. Like they fight the
Correct.
monster, Batman beats the
Correct.
Joker, next episode something else happens.
Correct.
Dragon Ball was like the first show where it was like a serialized show that I watched.
Exactly.
And
Facts.
I think that's what. It wasn't the first anime to do it, obviously,
No.
but I didn't know what the hell anime really was back then. I mean, it was Japanimation, so it's that, and then just everything about it, bro. And like I've come to love it even more. The fights are fun, obviously,
Mhm.
but the comedy, the characters, it's just the moments, the music. It's just I love everything about that show. But like you said, there are things to criticize.
Right.
But to play devil's advocate on that, I think sometimes people criticize things that they either don't understand or they got to have somebody else say, okay, well, what about this?
Right.
Whereas like I'm with you. Dragon Ball's got some really poorly animated episodes.
Right.
The Go versus Frieza fight drags on. In fact, the whole second half of the Frieza arc drags on. There's a lot of problems. The Cell Saga has so many plot holes. The Cell Saga has so many damn plot holes. Not just the time travel
Yes.
stuff. Like,
Yes.
how is it that we have a future timeline where everyone's dead?
Hmm.
Why hasn't Goku touched King Kai on the shoulder to communicate with Gohan, teach him how to do Super Saiyan 2? It's mind, but there's so many things that. Why didn't Bulma? You're telling me in 17 years Gohan couldn't do Super Saiyan 2 or get stronger. You're telling me that Bulma, it took her that long to make the time machine, and yet in the present timeline, she's able. So how come present Bulma was able to make a remote control to shut off the androids, but future Bulma couldn't do it? Like there's
Right.
so many things that are just bad about that
Yeah.
arc. And then
Yeah.
the Majin Buu saga, the last half of that arc, Toriyama had no idea how to end it. You
Facts.
had Gotenks fail. You had Gohan fail, and Gohan was built up. You
Right.
had Vegito didn't fail, but didn't get the job done. Then you had the
Right.
final fight with Goku. So it's like, and I know he's trying to build drama, but you can tell like you
Yeah.
can tell he's having problems finishing the arc. You can tell he's burnt out. I mean,
Yeah.
he was doing nonstop manga for at that point since 79.
Right.
And that was like 16 years of working every week will kill you.
Facts.
But like the point I'm trying to make to you is, yeah, there's things to criticize, but like I think people will say something stupid and like misunderstand Gohan's character. And the dub is responsible for a lot of this, but so are the
For
memes.
sure.
Too many
Yes.
Dragon Ball fans read memes, bro, and they
Yeah.
consider it canon when
Right.
it's like, especially Team 4-Star. Look, as much as I love Dragon Ball Z Abridged, and I've talked to Scott about this, has created this weird. It's like the cult thing I talked about earlier. It's created this weird false reality that Dragon Ball Z Abridged has more value than the original story, even the original dub. Yeah, there's things that Abridged did better, but it's a parody series that makes
Right.
fun of Dragon Ball because it loves Dragon Ball. But you got people out there who legitimately say that Abridged is the best dub, and maybe it is the best dub for certain circumstances, but it's not meant to be taken as a serious dub, but it never has been.
Right.
Or even compared to the Japanese version. I'm like, Abridged is the best way to watch series, but you're not watching the series, dog. If I'm
Right.
listening to Weird Al Yankovic do Amish Paradise, I'm not listening to Gangsta's Paradise. It's a completely different
Facts.
song.
Facts.
But it pisses me off. So when Abridged makes a joke about Goku being a bad dad or whatever, oh well, he's obviously a bad. But did you actually watch Dragon Ball? And so
Right.
these are things that I think about all the time when it comes to my content. But like you back to the original point, yes, it's frustrating to be a creator and criticize something. And I think a lot of people go on YouTube and they watch us because they want, not because they want our opinion, but because they want validation. If
Validation.
I just got
Facts.
done watching Broly, I want to hear geekdom say I'm right for liking Broly.
For
So when
sure.
I made my Broly video, my original review, I said that even though I love this movie, Battle of Gods hit me on an emotional level more, and it did for other
Mm.
reasons that I didn't go into in the review. Oh, so you're saying that Battle of Gods is better? Or are you crazy? And it's like, well, what if I do say
Yo,
it's better? Like in some ways, it is better. Like
you know
really.
what's wild about that is I get this a lot because like obviously I do reactions on my channel and people are like, "Oh, well, what did you like about this or that or did you like this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I rate this episode, you know, a 7." And they're like, "Oh, so you didn't like it?" What?
7 means I liked it, bro.
What are we talking about? Oh, well, you gave that episode a 6.5. So you didn't like it. So you hated it? You do know like 6 out of 10 means the majority of it I liked. Like you do understand that, right? Like it's really
Bad, bro.
strange. There's no gradient. It's like either you love it, and if you don't love it, you think it's trash. And it's like, what? Like, how does this work? Like, so I agree with you 1,000%. And I think with the Dragon Ball thing, I think now it's become a meta to hate Dragon Ball. Like it's become like this thing of like, oh, well, people just come back. It's like, right. But you're saying that now because of, you know, all of Dragon Ball. But when we were watching Dragon Ball episode to episode, you didn't know people were going to come back. You didn't know, like when Piccolo died or certain people passed or got killed, you're like, damn, like, okay, what's going on? Like, what's the next thing that's going to happen? How are they going to figure this out and that out? Like, you're looking at it from the entirety of the series. But when you're watching this for the first time, there's emotional moments. There's moments that get you hype. There's moments you're like, dang, I don't know how this is going to work. And obviously, the rules of the Dragon Balls changed over the years. But when you're going off of certain rules of how the Dragon Balls worked, when you first saw it, you're like, I don't know how I don't know how they're going to figure this out now. Like, there was real stakes at, you know, when you're watching things the first time through. So I think there becomes like this idea of, oh, well, because of X, Y, and Z, it's not good. And it's like, guys, like, I understand like certain people want certain characters to be more complex than what they actually are. Like people want Goku to be a more complex character, but it's like, that's not who Goku is. It's not
Goku,
who
bro.
Goku is, bro. He's
And
a
then they write
simplistic.
fan fiction. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he's
No, I was
a
just saying, I
country
agree with you.
bumpkin, bro. He's a
Yeah.
country bumpkin, bro.
Right. And there are complexities to the character, but I think people get it
Right.
wrong. And one thing I like about what you said about like the first time you're watching it, one thing that I try to do sometimes, I don't always do it, is when I'm watching something, I try to put myself in the position of somebody at the time. Like, for example, I have a friend of mine who doesn't like watching movies before the year 2000. And I'm like, you
Oh,
do
wow.
realize that the majority of classic movies came out before the year 2000. Yeah, but I just, the way they look, I'm like, so you don't like movies that are shot on film? He's like, no. And it's like, first of all, when movies shot on film, it looks more real than digital. It always will. That's always going to be the case. You can't change that. But like, secondly, number two, you're missing out. But number three, like when I watch an old movie, let's say I'm watching Casablanca, it's
Mhm.
in black and white. I don't like watching movies in black and white that much, but I try to put myself in the time frame of when it came out. Same thing with if I'm watching Star Wars.
Mhm.
Obviously, there's movies now that do what Star Wars did better than Star Wars, but
Right.
for 1977,
70, right.
can you imagine being in the movie theater and the only sci-fi you ever saw was like Flash Gordon TV stuff and
Right.
some Star Trek, and you're in the movie theater, right? And that movie, bro, that's like a perfect movie. Star Wars is
Yeah.
like a perfect movie. Like even though Empire might be the best written one and Jedi might have the best ending, Star Wars: A New Hope is like a perfect beginning, middle, and end. When the crawl and the
Mhm.
loud ass music, and then you see the planet, and then and you see that
Yep.
the shot. And can you imagine being a
Bro.
kid in a movie theater in '77? I'm like holding on to my seat, like and you got the good sound. Like, that's why, like, I don't want to lose the movie theater
Yeah.
experience, bro. I know that people are doing streaming now. I know that HBO Max is showing theatrical movies, but there's nothing like being in a theater with other
I
people. There's
agree.
actually a ritualistic feeling to it.
I
Like when you
agree.
see Endgame and people are crying because Tony Stark dies, like you're not gonna get that if you're watching at home with your girlfriend. She might cry. But
Bro.
when you see grown ass men and kids, and like there's like we kind of bond as humans,
Correct.
bro. We bond.
It's an
So
event.
experiencing like dog, Force Awakens. I
Was
don't
a
like
moment.
the other
Bro, Force
Star Wars
Awakens was
movies.
one of the funnest moments I've ever had in a theater, bro.
I cried 3 times, bro.
Bro,
I
I was so
cried
hyped.
3 times. I'm a grown ass man. I mean, I didn't cry like ball, but like I got
Right.
teary
Yeah,
eyed.
you got the teary eyed.
Bro, the scene, it wasn't even when Han Solo died. The scene when Han and Leia reunite,
Mm-hmm.
they open up the door, she walks out, and they pause.
Yep.
Bro, I was like, I swear to God, I was
Yep.
like this. Because then they play the music, the Leia music.
Yeah.
Like just that reunion, I was just like, I felt such a pussy, bro. But it's like, dude, and then like, cause that's like kind of realistic. Like, if you
Right.
have an ex who you loved and you haven't seen her for a while, and then you first lock eyes, all those feelings come back, bro. You
Right.
know, not all the time, but sometimes, most of the time.
Right.
And so she's like, nice hair. And then she's like, oh, it's new haircut. No, new, same jacket. No, new
Right.
jacket. You know, like, oh man. And like, then the scene where Ray grabs the lightsaber and they play the Force theme in the background, the twin sons. The
Mm.
music is what gets to me, bro. And that's the same thing with Dragon Ball. Like, one of the scenes that moved me emotionally in Dragon Ball, and this is why I actually like the anime more than the manga, because of I'm more of an experienced type of guy, bro. I like
Facts.
experience. I don't Reading is cool, but
Same.
I like the everything.
I'm the same.
So like the scene, even though Dragon Ball Z episode 190 is mostly a trash episode because they spend the entire time doing a recap of Gohan and Cell, but Gohan's like giving up on himself. He's holding his arm, and then Goku just says, "No, you can beat him. Don't give up." And then Gohan looks up, and his father's talking to him from beyond the grave, bro. This is after my dad died. I
Mm.
mean, I had watched it when I was a kid, but I mean, I got emotional when I watched it after my dad died because
Right.
now it's like resonating
Right.
with me. And his dad, he's like, "No, you can't give up. You can beat this guy. You're not using your full power." And then they start playing the music in the background. It's one of Kikuchi's most emotional tune. It's the one that goes da, na, na, na,
Yeah.
na. The same one when the same one they play when everyone's giving Goku energy for the spirit bomb when they fight Kid Buu.
Mm-hmm.
And it's emotional because you're seeing, like, watch that scene again in Japanese, of course. You're seeing like characters we haven't seen, like
Right.
Devilman, like Launch, characters we have not seen in years.
Mm.
And then 17 with the shotgun, and he's like, "I'll help you, Son Goku."
Right.
And it's like the culmination of everything. Like, it's such a rewarding experience because you
Right.
sat through this entire life story of Goku, you know, seeing him meet all these people, and now they all have to fight this demon, and
Right.
they all come together for him.
Right.
That gets to me more than even Mr. Satan telling the humans to give energy. It's like, these are the people Goku met who he had, like people at Penguin Village, like Android 8 or whatever,
Right.
Aider, and they're all giving energy to Goku, and it's like, it's a beautiful moment, bro. And then the music is what really, the manga doesn't have that,
Right.
that music.